Because this guy, he actually came for like one worship night that I helped plan my church do.
Where's the church?
In Ottawa. Yeah, and he actually came, like, he was in town because he came to see his sister. But he came and he watched me because I preached that night. That's my guy.
So people are coming to watch you.
I beg, it's not like that. He just came to see me. We hadn't seen each other in a long time.
You're now
I beg, man.
What you're saying is that you're not ministry pastor.
I beg.
They're inviting.
See, that's the thing. Everybody's calling me pastor. Nobody has ordained me. See, as long as you know me, my name is Brother Ola. That's what I am. I'm a brother in the Lord.
Now, from brother, pastor would come from.
His brother, then you go to deacon, and then
it's not deacon. Some people do not jump to deacon.
Guys, see, I'm no one's pastor, because pastor means I have responsibility and authority over people.
You know, sometimes when oh Jesus Christ,
Wow.
my
so
leg
good.
has shifted. You know, sometimes I ask people, I'm just like, why do you want to be a pastor? I ask questions like, why do you want to be a pastor?
I think honestly, I feel like there was a younger version of me where it was more about, oh, you are like on the pulpit and like people are looking at you a certain way.
Yeah.
And I think probably for a lot of African preachers, they probably see it that way. It's like, yeah, like people are looking up to me. Like, bro, the TB Joshua documentary I watched, it was definitely that. The guy, people like, guy, they had a song. Instead of singing about God, they're like, TB Joshua, the man of God, he's the one sent something. We're in a record. Yeah.
Yeah, we are. Keep going.
Like, literally, like, they were singing a song with this guy's name, less about God. Every time this guy used to preach, he barely held the Bible. Barely held the Bible. And I feel like that's the thing, like, the thing about, like, preaching and, like, being on the pulpit is that, like, it can... Like, if you don't check yourself, like, especially with the pride thing, because that's the thing, it's a lot of pride. Like, it's so easy for pride to rise up your heart. And that is when, because that's the thing, being a pastor, honestly, you're a shepherd. Like, it's less about you.
That's the one I'm like, guys, you don't want to be a pastor. No. Because the real world that comes to being a pastor, we're talking about every time we're hearing pastor is fasting. When when you're meant to be sleeping, you're praying. Obviously, there are some times where God will call you as a person to pray for other people, but the work of being a pastor, I don't think people understand it.
Bro.
So when I hear people want to be so quick to get a pastor, and I'm just like, are you sure you're ready for that? Are you sure?
Maybe some people just love God like that, where they just really
I don't think
want
it's
to
loving
serve.
God, though. I don't think it's loving God. People love God and they can want to serve. But if you truly do love God, yeah, I think there's a level of, don't get me wrong, the flesh might play a part and everything, but I think there's a point where you know that contentment will come and everything, like all of those kind of things. But there is also the value of understanding that being a pastor is a different level of commitment. And I don't think people understand that still. Like, from the pastors that I have been under and everything like that. My godfather as well too. My godfather almost died because like after he finished fasting and because he went on a rigorous spiritual exercise. He fell sick and it was during that time that I had COVID. But because his immunity had reduced and everything like that. And I'm just like, guys, I understand you're a pastor. And I get it. And that's why I ask people, I'm just like, are you sure you're ready for this work? Because ain't nobody telling you anything, bro. Like, if you're actually going to be, if the oil is going to remain on you as a pastor, it comes with, your flesh cannot exist.
At all.
Your flesh in this world cannot exist. Like, even if there's an inkling of flesh, because the one thing one pastor told me once was like, the closer you are to God, the closer God deals with you.
Hey.
Because you know how it is, like, let me just imagine, like, a parent now that is close to a kid. It's easier for him to flick the parent. The parent is easier for the to flick him. Stop that. But the closer you are to God, because with too much is given, much is expected. So for you to ask yourself and tell yourself, obviously, if God calls you, sure, go ahead. But
count the cost.
Count the cost and also ask yourself, like, all this your desire to run for pastorship and everything, ask yourself,
what are you really doing this for?
what are you really doing this for? And is this what God has called
What
you
you
to?
to do? Bro, like, man, I think, and I honestly think, like, a lot of the time, like, I really do think it's the appeal of, like, going, because the way I think about it, I think, like, everybody wants to feel heard. I feel like their voice is heard. And I think a lot of people are so quick to rush to like the pulpit or like to the highest platform to give like advice or counsel because they want to feel heard and want to feel relevant.
Start a podcast.
Bro, exactly. Start a podcast. Start release. No, don't. Please. This
Sorry, I'm moving this thing. My leg is too long.
hello, it's fine.
So
No, but release is not, this is not the, like we said, we had it real. This is not the platform for anybody to stand up on and be shouting like, yeah, look at me. This is God's podcast, please.
Yeah. I think it was Tim Ross I was listening to once where he was like, some people are not meant to be pastors. They're just meant to have podcasts.
Yes. Yes.
They're just meant to have podcasts.
Yep.
They're just meant to be posting videos.
They have YouTube videos.
And YouTube videos. But because like when you grow up and everything, the highest pinnacle was you're already a pastor. But what if God is just calling you to serve in your smaller congregation, a youth leader, or not pastor? Because you can have the gift of speaking, you can just be a you can just be an engagement, like a speaking engagement person or whatever. If you just have yourself, and the thing is that I don't know if this is for someone, but I think it's just very important to actually ask yourself is that, what if I'm not meant to be a pastor? Because like God has gifted you with the ability to speak, but what if the way he's going to use you is not meant to be a pastor? We have TEDx. You can go be a TEDx speaker, bro.
TEDx. Crazy.
No, I'm being serious. It's just like every one of us still has to die to our flesh. But as a pastor,
is a different
is
level.
a different ball game.
But okay, so do you feel as though like the people who are actually called to be pastors, those are the people who you can tell that their ministry is blessed?
No.
Okay.
No. I listen, even if your ministry can be blessed and God's hand can still be off of it. Because there's some things, it's just about like what has God called you to do. The thing is that God will always use whatever he needs to use to bring his children closer to him. So I don't think the ability of just saying, oh, the ministry is growing, how is the prayer going on there? How is the learning to die to yourself? How is the pruning? How are they being taught discipline? That is the most important thing, because we can hear sweet words, you can be a motivational speaker. In fact, bro, sometimes you can just be a motivational coach, not a pastor, because you're good with words.
You know what I just thought about is like, I feel like the measure of success for like a pastor, a minister, is his congregation's success, not his. Like, it doesn't make sense for like a pastor to like increase if his congregation is not increasing as well.
Yeah.
Cause like really, like, why are you talking like, and everybody's giving you like money, like, and them, their life is saying the same.
Well,
and it's not just like, at the end of the day, like, people have to do what people have to act on the words that they are receiving.
Yeah.
And if a pastor is doing a good job in terms of communicating the truth and laying down practical steps and whatnot, the people should be able to follow.
Yeah.
And you should see their lives change. But then, like, yes, okay, the congregation is still responsible. I don't know. Hello, like, I'm going on a tangent here. I just get so worried, like, with like how like Christianity, like, I don't know, people are just like going to church is just like Sunday routine. Like, people don't sit in messages to really connect to the word, or like it's just like, yeah, I'm here on Sunday. I serve, but like, is your heart like really? Why are you serving? You know, like I do all these things, like, and it's not like, because I don't want to make it sound, because I feel like I've expressed this thing before and it's made it feel like I've beaten down on people who are trying to be engaged in church. You know, I think it's a great thing that, like, you know, regardless of how well you're connected to the message, it's good that you're taking steps, and I acknowledge that people are at different steps of their journey. You know, I just worry for the churchgoer who's just doing it out of habit and routine.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think also it comes back to what we're saying when you talk about like spiritual burnout as well too. Because one thing about this is that,
you see how we do? We just connected release
shout
universe.
out good thoughts. But one thing about spiritual burnout that I think I experienced was when you are giving a lot towards the ministry or anything, but are you receiving something back? Because serving in God's vineyard is very important, because it's a way to feel connected. God wants to use your gifts for him as well too. But I've seen many people who are in different churches who are not being fed, but because they are serving, that's their own excuse. For a year, I had that excuse. And one thing someone told me was that, my godfather, when I spoke to him about it, he's like, what you're doing is sinful. Because what you have right now is a messianic mentality where you feel like if you leave, this church will survive. Well, and he told you, see, God doesn't need you.
Bro, that's so humbling.
God does not need you.
That's so humbling.
God does not need you.
Oof.
He doesn't need you. Like, he wants you. He wants to be part of it. It's literally a necessary that he wants you. But he doesn't need you to continue the work. Like, he will bring up other people who need to do. His work will continue without you. And that kind of set me free. And I think the one important thing is that, like, wherever you're going to church, wherever it is, make sure you're being fed. Make sure you are receiving something. Because it is an, what's this?
Transaction?
It's not transactional. It's like, God is not a wicked God. He wants to give his children as much as they're giving, and maybe even more. Sometimes it can be a mini balance or here and there, but God is not a wicked God. And he wants that for his children. So there's also that ability to understand that wherever you're serving, wherever you're doing something, God still wants to bless you with his word. He wants you to be connected in community as well too. Plus also, I'm also thinking lately, the point just came to my head that everyone goes to church, but I think lately God wants actually to conform people into smaller groups. Because you go to church, that's it, Sunday and everything, but accountability happens in the smaller groups. And the truth is that you can never ever grow if you're not accountable to someone. And I think that's where like more and more churches might be falling down and everything. God wants to actually bring people back into smaller groups, into places, because all these things I'm saying is because I've read on people saying, and it just makes more sense that like the first church, for instance, they were in a small group. And it's all about that, like, we can have the church and we can have the small groups, but it's also important that we need to have accountability and close relationships. Christian work is not done on your own. And that is part of everything I say about like being fed as well too. Because are you being fed in the relationships you're building on in your church as well too? Are you being fed from the word? Are you like, are you seeing the evidence of you going to that church? Because there has to be evidence. This was all my dad spoke to me when I was going through that situation. It's like, there's no way you're doing this for somewhere and serving God's vineyard that he's not rewarding you. The only thing that might be that you are serving in the wrong place, or you're putting your seed in the wrong place, because maybe you're not really getting anything. Is it amiable relationship, but that might be it.
Mutual relationship. I agree. Like the small groups thing, man. Like I agree so much. I feel like those are the spaces where you can have that vulnerability.
Yep.
The problem with engaging in church, it's sad that that's the way it is. Is that we all sort of go in there and put in an act. Like everybody, like is like, how are you doing? Oh, we bless God. The Lord is so good. God, we thank God. He's faithful. His mercies never endureth forever. Like it's just you don't get real answers.
Your hand.
Oops.
Your hand is away from the camera.
Sorry, you don't get like real answers. You don't get like real responses. Like people are not like it's just not a space for vulnerability.
Yeah.
And I feel like with small groups, with like house fellowships, with house churches, that is where you actually have the opportunity to build those, bro. Because like that is what that's what your Christian dream. Like
that's what will keep you standing,
bro. You need people to give you perspective on yourself. Like you need people to like be a mirror. Because it's like we talk about like with isolation. The problem with isolation is that you're the only one there, so in your mind, you think everything you're doing is right. You think you're God, basically. It's like, no, I'm not. Bro, I say these things because I've been there. Bro, I've been so isolated for so long in my life. Where, like, when somebody checks you, like,
and when you have people in your life who now start checking you, bro, if you have people around you that want the best from you and keep you accountable, be ready for a bruised ego. Be ready for a bruised ego. I think the problem is that both of us are experiencing this in this moment when we're talking about this. It's like the whole point of people being close to you. I'm not talking about distance relationship. You might know people, you can have good friends, but you can have distant relationships. If they're close, if they're in your space, in your life. I mean, when I mean in your life, I'm not just talking about, this person is in my life. I'm talking about they are in
your life. They know what's going on.
They know.
Yep.
They are in the intricacies of your life. Be ready for a bruised ego. Be ready for the snakes to show up. For some reason, I don't know, this scripture of Paul going to after the boat.
But when it was shipwrecked?
Yeah, the shipwreck and everything, and the landing of I think it was in Malta that he landed in and everything like that. And for some reason, when Paul was like lighting up the fire and everything like that, snakes came out. And every single time I think of that, like when I was listening to a sermon and when I was in like the academy, I was talking to you about as well too. And for some reason, it's like when fire comes out, the snakes are going to come. Because the whole point of that, it's meant to remove the snakes. Like, not people, by the way. I'm talking about the snakes.
In you.
The snakes in you. The pride, the lies, everything. The
manipulation, the pride.
Everything that comes with it. And another way God will use those snakes to come out from your life is basically by putting people that will hold you accountable. Because if you're not ready, again, for a bruised ego, for you to be so annoyed, for you to not allow yourself to not receive offense, then you are not going to progress. So I'm just saying is that, like, back to what we're saying, community, your Christian work is very, very much important with people.
Yeah.
And I know we'll be going on a tangent about pastors being on this space, but it's just the whole point of that. I don't know why we went here. We just started talking. It was just community, the sense of community, and having people who are
present in your life,
not just present, but present physically, mentally, emotionally.
They know what's going on.
They know the intricacies
you can be
of
real
your life.
with. You can tell.
It's going to be tough, but it builds you up. It's fire. It's burning everything that is not like God in you. It's pressure that's making diamonds. And if you have good people like that who hold you accountable, who say the truth, who are not just calling out your faults, they call out your strengths, because I believe that for everyone, like sandwich technique, as they call it, it's not that you just see everything, but it's all about, like, if someone wants you to progress and they see these things about you, also accept that there will be conflict, but conflict is healthy.
Conflict is good. Conflict is so good. Like, I think, I understand why people. I've been having an understanding recently as to why people run away from conflict, because I feel like we're not trained to engage in it.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of the time, we're met with screams and shouts, and obviously when it seems like you're being attacked, you get defensive, right? But like, there's a way to engage in conflict where it's like, it's more about like expressing how somebody's actions make you feel.
Yep.
Like, it's not that like, oh, like you do this and you do this. It's like, it's about, it's more, bro, honestly, what I get, when I realize, like, to live a good Christian life, there's a lot of focus you have to like place on yourself. Because at the end of the day, it's whatever like comes out of you that you pour into other people.
Yeah.
That's why the topic of self-love is so important.
Yeah.
Because if you love yourself, you're not looking for it in other people, and you don't hurt people. When it comes to receiving conflict, it's not like it's about, and like engaging in conflict, like at the end of the day, it's about how somebody's making you feel, not about what they are doing.
Yeah.
Like, the focus is always on you and letting another person see you, right? Like, I don't know, like, conflict is so necessary. Like, it's so necessary.
It is necessary. Like, I'm not saying, again, disclaimer, I'm not saying you're always doing fights.
Don't go and be looking for fights when there's no need to fight fights.
But this conflict reminds you, and again, conflict for me now, I'm realizing, is again like fire, where it's like, it's bringing out the snake of stubbornness. For me, for instance, is like offense, like, why you coming at me? But sometimes it's like, bro, like, you have the spirit of offense. Stop taking criticism as an offense. That's what I learned from all of this, and it makes me have to remind myself that what this person is saying is not to hurt me. It's not to make me feel lower. It's to make me better. And if I don't change my perspective on that, every single time there's a problem or a conflict, it will feel like you're being attacked.
Yep.
Anyways, welcome to another episode of
Welcome, guys. We're back together.
We are in a different. Sorry, my rice is in. I haven't eaten it well.
You have not even touched this food, man.
I don't know.
Ben,
we just started.
It's true. Eat.
I don't know how to eat.
Nah, let me greet. Hi, everybody. This is Ola. Funto is here. Oh, we're recording together, actually.
No split screen.
No split screen. Also, like, all the episodes we've done this year, Funto has been busy, and so I've just been talking to, like, it's only one episode we've had now with a guest. More to come.
It was two, actually.
It was two.
But because I was traveling,
tech mishap,
and a miscommunication, and honestly, my fault.
It's just a mishap. Shout out to Chuchu though. Like, we're going to have him on the pod.
He was very patient when we told him about.
Yeah, we're gonna have him on the pod still this year.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, still lots of interviews with guests like coming. Shout out to Toby for the last episode.
Yeah.
I have friends, man. I have wise friends.
Yeah, he was talking,
Toby,
like, even for me when I was doing the work editing and everything, like this, like today as well too, when I was doing some of it, I was like, oh, that's another clip, but I already finished the clips for the week. He was just Toby, like,
he's such a wise guy. Like,
how old is he?
He's 28 or so. He's older than me. He's literally my older brother. Like, I call him my older brother. I met him in Kingston, and he's just like embraced me as a younger brother. Like, he gives such wise, practical advice. And he's just a great person, like, to talk to. And it's so funny. I was telling, like, it's funny, like, when he had met the first ever pod that we recorded, he was talking about how, like, when he met me, he saw me in church, he thought I was like a Yoruba demon.
That's crazy.
Because of the way I looked, right? And at the time, I was the kind of person where I was like, Toby looks like he just came fresh from Nigeria. Like, I don't know if I would like relate with him, right? But like, and I was
Judgment.
no, exactly. But on both sides, right? You know. But then I was having a conversation with someone. I was just like we kill the potential of relationships, like that we can have with people, like when we come into it with all these, you know,
preconceived notions,
or come into it with these like you have an expectation for how you want somebody to be.
Yeah,
it's like they say expectation is the killer of relationships.
Whoa.
It's literally like relationship with yourself, relationship with other people. Like,
is it expectation or unspoken expectations?
I think expectations, period, for how things should be. Like, for example, like if you're saying, you know, I only, like, for all my friends, I expect them to, you know, always be there to give me like words of counsel, or I expect them to always like when you put people in a box in terms of what you expect from them in relationship, you are not allowing yourself to see all the other things that they can offer you. You know, like for me, you know, my barometer for friendship: are you a Christian? Are you like devoted to following God? Once those two are checked, let me experience everything else that comes. Your perspective, your experiences, your knowledge. But if you're like, no, my friends have to be black. My friends have to be, all of them, master's education. All my friends have to.
You have a master's degree.
I do have a master's degree, but that's
no, like the person, does he have a master's degree?
Exactly, right? Like, so some people, like, that's the thing, right? It's like, oh, bro, I have like such random like people whom I like. Like, I met this guy. He's like probably like a 70-year-old old man. His name is Wayne in Chicago. Like, he's coming to pick me up from the airport tomorrow. Like, he's a caregiver for like a like the person who he caregives is disabled. But I'll call him my friend.
He's a 70-year-old man.
Yeah.
As a caregiver.
Yeah. But he's my friend. Like, he calls me. He's like, hey, Ola, I just called to check up on you. And like, you know, he's like, love you, brother. Like, let me pray with you. Right? But in my mind, if I was like, I can never be friends with like a 70-year-old man, bruh. What am I doing with a 70-year-old man? Like, that's what we talk about. Like, what expectations are you having for the people who could potentially change your life?
So expectation is the killer of potential relationships. Not relationships.
Oh yeah, potential relationships. Yes, even like
relationships, honestly.
Yeah, and even like relationship with yourself. If you are constantly expecting yourself to behave a certain way instead of giving yourself the freedom to just be, you're going to live in a place of torment. And I feel like I've had to learn that lesson, because it's like, I feel like I draw these rules in my mind for myself and how I should be in certain spaces, and it's like, bruh, just be. Literally, I listen to that reel that I made like all the time. It's like, literally just be. Don't feel like you have to act a certain way. Just allow yourself. You know. So yeah, like Toby's like that's a friendship that's like changed my life. Because he's seen me through like different seasons in my life. And like, he's been there to give me counsel. Even, bro, when I was not doing so well mentally, like sort of in the midst of my depression, or the depression, my mom came to come and see me.
Yeah.
And then Toby drove all the way. He drove like an hour to our hotel to come and see my mom and greet her. And even just chill with us. I even got my mom like his shirts, and like, you know, like those kind of people in your life, like, bro.
You know what thing? I'm realizing that like the older generation have something great with them that I think we lack. I think I've said it before, where it's just like, excuse me, what has been good for them was that they had a lot of close-knit relationships. Like, that's what Toby just did, is what people in their older generation would do. Like, they would drive, they would fly, everything is going. They're always ready to do that. And for some reason, yes, there are some people that need to mind their business, but there are some that want to be part of your life and are indeed interested in your life. But because we are still an individualist society, I mean, look at our houses, so separated from each other. You don't even know if anybody's in their house.
Don't know your neighbor.
Like, you don't know your neighbor. I don't even know the neighbor of my house, to be honest. I just know they have nice cars. So, like, it helps them have good long life, good relationships. They never lack for anything. Like, there's this thing that my mom and her friends used to do where they just used to gather money.
Oh yeah, I've heard, yeah.
Yeah, where
Yep.
they just where
So if anybody needs money, they can
money
just pull from
they
the
can
pot.
just pull from the pot, exactly. So I think it was like everyone put like maybe 5,000 every month into the pot, so whoever needs it in that moment can have it, because it's our money in that
Our
moment.
money. It's bro.
And some of these traditions is what keep these people going, because you think how far they've come, and we're talking about like how they've been able to get through a lot of things more and more. It's the community. We see them living long lives, 75, 80, all those kind of things. It's because of their community, and it's because they were able to have, like, sometimes I just see my mom talking to her sisters, her friends, everybody, and I'm just like, okay, because I'm an introvert. I don't like speaking too much, but the thing is that I see what it is, because it's like, I lost my grandfather last year, so when a lot of things happened and everything like that, you know, just because of community of people are around, bruh, they knew that burial in Nigeria is something else and everything like that. I kid you not, like, more than half of the burial was paid for people who were just like, okay, there's no other way we can comfort you. We can say sorry, thank you for coming, thank you for helping us. Sorry, thank you. Okay, let me put it this way. They know that, okay, we can say sorry, but how can we help next? Because we know burial is expensive. But people were sending money. The last one she received almost 500,000 naira. That is $5,000 Canadian dollars.
Bro, that's crazy.
Like, just like that. And I give you, more than half of that burial was paid from that money that he just gave to her. And that is what this is about community. It's like, what are you going to do next?
Yeah.
Talk about your brother's wedding as well too. Because of the community. He always says God raised help because of the community around him. Yeah.
Man, it's a part of me, like, it's kind of like sad about where like we're going as a society. This whole individualistic, consumeristic, capitalistic, all the istics, ballistic, all of them. But like, I think I was having a conversation with a friend that I met in Chicago, and he was telling me about how he called it the replacement rate. So the rate at which people who are dying are being replaced by people who are born is like it's so low. Like the rate at which like people are dying.
You're telling me that birth rates are reducing?
Yes, because
well, fair enough. Like, everyone sees the economy. Like, to do a daycare is $2,000 a month or something like
economy, but like again, like you can see how like as a culture and as a society, we have not placed an importance on family.
Yeah.
Why are daycare so expensive? Everybody's concerned about making a bag and making money.
Yeah.
And so but that's the mindset that exists in society. It's just this chase for money, that we don't prioritize or understand the importance of family. Family being the first source of community that any of us have.
Yeah.
You know, and so like it's sad like how society is progressing in that regard, because I don't think we understand God's like mandated purpose for what family is. Like I was teaching my teenagers, we were talking about like forgiveness back in Chicago, and like we were talking about how, you know, like it's so hard to like forgive like when people like really hurt you, and we're talking about like, you know, setting boundaries and like having space aside. And we were talking about like, you know, what if it was like with your brother? Because one of them was like, yeah, I just want to talk to them. I was like, wait, but you live in the same, let's say you lived in the same room. Yeah, I just want to talk to them. And I was just like, you see how like the fact that he's your brother and the fact that like you all live in the same house,
Mm-hmm.
there is an emotional bond,
Mm-hmm.
like whether you like it or not, that you have with your family that like you can like distance will not like remove.
Yeah.
And how much of a training ground that is for you to learn things like forgiveness.
Yep.
And to learn things like patience and to learn those things.
Yep.
Because it's like you don't choose your family, you choose your friends. Don't choose your family.
Don't choose your family.
And there's a reason God had it like that, because like, I'm going to teach you something with these like people, even though you all share the same blood, you all might look alike, you all are still different human beings.
Very, very.
And so like you need to learn like there is a, and I think that's why I don't want to go too spiritual, but I think it is the devil's plan ultimately to destroy the importance of family in our society, because family, the home is a training ground for righteousness.
Families, come again?
Family or the home is a training ground for righteousness.
Okay, could you expatiate on that a bit?
So like again, like it's like I spoke about with learning things like forgiveness, you know, or even like I think a lot of us think that like we like the church is our primary source of like receiving the word.
Yeah.
The church is meant to equip you. The training that you give your children as a parent is supposed to be done in the household. You prepare them.
Up a child in the way you should go. Yeah,
exactly. Like you prepare them spiritually in the household.
Yeah.
Right? And so like, because like, you know, there are like families are not being had, like people are just like living as individuals and whatnot. And
well, you can also say that sometimes is that absent parents as well to plays a part.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things we can't just say, like there's a lot of asterisks that could be, but again, it's still down to what we're saying about the enemy trying his best to always break families, because like we have the asterisks on upstairs fathers, absent parents, divorced marriages and everything like that. It's all because if it starts from there, everything else is broken. That's in the infancy period, because you start from the house, and then when you get out there, that's you growing more. Because at 2 years, 3 years, you're still in the house, still in infancy. Then at 4, 5, 6, you're probably going to kindergarten and all this kind of thing. So, yeah, I completely agree with you as well too.
Yeah, man. I don't know, man. I just feel as though like, I don't like the way society is going. I feel like the older I get, the more I just realize how like more important and relevant like the Christian gospel message is, because like the world is like really like getting more and more depraved and getting more and more worldly, I guess. And but it's nothing is new under the sun. It's always been this way. But then like technology almost has this multiplying effect.
The thing is that like technology just you're right, amplifies it. Like we talk about all the situations and everyone talks about this generation. I'm just like, guys, it's because you're seeing it every day. The people before you, the people in your generation see it. They did all of this even more, but you just don't know.
But then like also like, because everybody has their own phone, like it's magnified on an individual level. Like think of TikTok, man. Like see, I'll fight on TikTok, don't get me wrong, follow us, release the pod, but I'll fight TikTok.
What's wrong with TikTok?
People's attention spans are dying, bro. How many people have watched on TikTok 5 seconds into a clip, swipe, like something that is really, really good. I was hanging out with someone today and like we're listening to like a message, and I was like, whoa, this is really good. The lady didn't even finish. Before you know it, swipe. I was like, no, run it back. I'm going to listen to this thing start to finish. Like, I worry about that, because I think a lot of people don't understand how that like, that seeps into other areas of your life.
Oh yeah, shout out ADHD.
Bro, like, even like in a sense now, like you have an instant gratifying mindset that like, just like pervades all other areas of your life or relationship. I just want to get I just want to get a relationship now. I'm like, why are we rushing to it? Like, why are we like, as a society, what is so there about it? other things in your life. Oh, I just want the food now, convenience. Like, bro, like it's instant gratification is, bro, it's crazy because a lot of the things that lead to success in this life and in this world, you're supposed to wait.
Yeah. If not, patience would not be created. The world would not ever be anything. I don't know why we're going on this tangent.
I don't know, man.
Because
Guy,
apparently it was meant to be a
it's
Q&A
supposed to be
session.
Q&A.
But nobody has a Q.
There was one queue.
Oh, we have one
We
Q.
have one queue.
But yeah, it
so
was meant to be a Q&A session, but
maybe like because I know like people interact with like the questions on Spotify.
mm-hmm.
So maybe like maybe we'll drop like leave a question or something so that people can.
Mm-hmm.
But the question we had was, what was Release's origin story?
So that's a question for me.
Well, I think it's for both of us because I think both of us, people associate both of us with Release. But you, as the proprietor, as the visionary, as the forerunner.
Well, for me, I'd say Release was first given to me. I was in a period of prayer and fasting in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And I was following Transformation Church. Shout out Mike Todd and all of them. That was the period I was following them. And the word of the year was Release. And for some reason, it stuck to me. And it kept going. And I knew that the name of the podcast was going to be released. I had my vision book. Literally, it was written. And that time, I could see that I was just writing. The Lord was pouring. So 2019 was the first time I had Release as a word. But then one thing I'm actually realized with most of my visions God gives to me is that it's not for immediate. It's not usually immediate. It's like it's in front of me, but it's like
it will take time.
It will take time to evolve, maybe some things, and but yeah. In the same 2019, I started a soccer podcast, but I don't think I was meant to do it that way. So 2019, then 2021, 2021, that's when I started a football podcast. That's a soccer podcast. For some reason, again, one thing I think God does with me a lot is that he wants the pivoting to be public, not just you can see a new upgrade on something like iOS, you can just see the upgrade, but you don't know what the bugs is and everything like that. So the pivoting for me was always public. So we had the football podcast, but I kind of realized, okay, the vision got bigger. This is going to be more about this, and I think God wanted to now bring Release into the situation. So that's why we now have Release, and under that Release it was like Connect Extra. That was the name. It was a podcast platform that was going to be able to do both Release and TMB conduit. Then we now started. First episode dropped 25th December 2021. Then for some reason we just started uploading episodes.
Very inconsistently,
but we just did what we needed to do. And
I remember like the first few episodes, like we were like, I just remember listening to them, and I feel like we were like trying to figure out like our dynamic. Like it's like you start talking and I wouldn't know when to like
like every new thing. And it was just it to me, I just did it like. But yeah, in 2021 as well, too, a day after our friend's wedding, we were speaking about it, and I think that was the first time I told you, I think God wanted you to have Release, but we started working together and everything like that. Then we kept going. Then we just kept on pivoting. 2021 was good pivoting. 2022, we started producing. We ran faster than ourselves by posting an episode every week, but life got to life in,
Yep.
everything happened, but we're inconsistent, but we found a way.
Yeah.
For 2023, that was
Every
our
2
most
weeks.
consistent year.
Bro.
Every 2 weeks, we had great episodes. We
Bro,
traveled.
that first
all those
episode was
kind
a
of
banger,
things.
man.
It was all about like figuring it out.
Yeah.
Like the whole point of it is that the messiness of everything is the story.
Yeah.
The messiness of how it's going to be and how things are going to happen. So that was what was happening. And that's the story of our release is right now.
Yeah. And I remember that conversation we had in 2019. Yeah, I don't know. Like it was, and I remember like it was. I think I was at work when I went back to Kingston, and we were like texting. I was like, yeah, let's do it. And then we had that first episode on Christmas, and then we started from there. You know, but like I feel like honestly, like it's like having the podcast and listening to things back is such a great like audio diary of like just where both of us were at in life. You know, like it's been a long 3 years for me since I left like Calgary.
It's been a long 3 years too for me.
Bro,
I don't even know where I am right now.
Bro, I look at some of the episodes, even like outside the episodes, some of the conversations we had, we were like, man, life is just not going great.
For you?
Bro.
Yeah. Too much.
Man, like we really went through stuff, man.
Too much, man.
Really went through stuff, and our conversations would always be like just us pouring out of that, you know, and just like again like embracing like that middle place and like, bro, like, and some people say like, oh, we're always talking about sad stuff. I'm like,
yeah, they said as my sister always told me I can't listen to your podcast. My little sister, because it's always like you guys always talk about emotions and sadness. I'm like, well, not anymore, because life was life.
Life was life in. Like now things are a bit more like lighthearted and like, you know, vibes and, you know, but I'm just like why we don't need to run away. I think we run away from those things because we always want to feel good. But I'm just like, bro, that's not life. Like that is easy. When you're choosing easy, you're not choosing life.
I'm eating, please.
Like for real. Again, difficulty is the price of admission to a meaningful life. Like real life, true life, the life God has for you is not going to come easy. Like, so yes, we talk about emotions and we talk about emotions. We talk about because there's a place for that, and we hold space for people in that place. We hold space for them. You know.
But yeah, shout out to the one person that gave us a Q&A.
Yeah, shout out.
They answered your question. I think that's our limit, actually.
Bro, we've yawned, man.
Because we actually thought that's the point.
Bro, just talk.
So when I talk about the origin story, this episode is how release has continued. Talking about pastor, and came back to highlighting church, community,
problem with society,
the snake,
Paul.
Yeah.
But that's literally, if we had the slogan, we just come here and we talk.
But yeah, look at the background. It's an amazing space.
This is our new crib. This is my parents' new crib.
Bruh.
It's crazy how I call this place my parents' house now.
Yeah. You know, that's how you're growing up. Bro.
Yeah.
That's how your brother is like, oh yeah, my parents. I'm like, okay, weird, but I get it.
Legit. It's crazy. Well, Good Thoughts is out on Friday. This Friday. Well, if you're listening to this, Good Thoughts is already out.
No, yeah, Good Thoughts was out last week.
It was out last week. Go and run it back.
So go and run it back. But yeah, he returns back to, I don't know when you're returning at this point, because
I'll be back.
Like Ola, let me tell you about Ola does some things and he confuses us. I think he confuses his own brother as well too. My man thought he was meant to leave tomorrow, but apparently he leaves tonight
at 12
but tomorrow.
That one.
So that's how you would have slept well, and all of a sudden he will have no flights back to work.
I was already planning for tomorrow and like planning for like getting up, and I was going to do this and do that.
Did you think 6 a.m. or 6 p.m.?
I thought it was 6 a.m. man. I know I'm supposed to get to Chicago in the morning, but like it is what it is, man. I'm terrible with planning travel, honestly. Like, but yeah, thanks, guys. Shout out to everybody who's listening. Listen to Good Thoughts, run it back. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, release.pod. Great content. Funto's cooking with them reels. Yeah, follow our personal page if you want to.
Also, I think I need to give a clarification because I think I'm still here.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not here, but I'm still here.
They're writing eulogies, man.
Like, I got a eulogy. I was just like, guys, yes, I'm taking a step back, but I'm still here. I've never left. I've never left.
Thank you so much for leaving.
I've never left. I was like...
Crazy.
I love the message, but I was like, I'm still here. Don't worry.
Yo, will see Funty. Don't worry.
I'm not leaving.
Yo, see Funty. Don't worry.
Sorry, the meme just came to my head. I can't say the other words. But, yes, I'm still here.
Funto is still here. He's working behind the scenes a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I don't know. There's a lot in store for you guys. We have collabs. Like, probably going to have one in April during the wedding.
Yeah. I think we're going on a quick our
first break.
Yeah, first break of the year. Soon.
And then I'm going to set up some interviews with a few good people I know. So y'all should stay tuned for that. But yeah, I'm gassed, man. I'm excited for where we're going this year.
Yep.
I think it's gonna be a big year for us. But yeah, shout out to everybody who's on the ride with us, man.
Yeah.
When we look back in the next how many years, these are the kind of clips that people pull up.
Me eating rice.
Exactly. Recording in our living room. This is literally...
This is actually what I like though.
Yeah.
But more on couches.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
True. But yeah, thanks you all for sticking.
Peace out. We love you.
God loves you more.
Thank you very much.